Welcome to Vinex Studio. Let's start making games.
Hi and welcome. Today we are going to create a simple 3D game in Unity from scratch. I'm hoping that you already installed Unity. If not, take a look at the video on the top and install Unity. After that, we'll get started. So first, let me start Unity Hub. Okay, I'm going to create a new project. It will be a 3D project and I'm going to call it, let's call it 1 hour game. No, let's call it simple game. No, let's call it ball bounce because anyway I'm thinking about making a game with balls. So the location is okay, it's going to be 3D and I'm not going to worry about the render pipeline because it's a basic simple game. So let's go ahead and create project. Well, the initial project opening does take some time even with an SSD. So if you're having a normal HDD hard drive, then it's going to take longer. So we don't have any other option rather than waiting for this. There's no way to skip this. So while the project is loading, let's think about what to make. So the Unity editor has basic shapes like sphere, plane, capsules. So what we can make is we can make a ball out of the sphere and then the plane can act as the ground. So we can make a game where the player clicks on the screen and the ball bounces, and if the ball touches the ground when the ground is red in color, the ball is destroyed, and if it touches the ground when the ground is green in color, then you get points. So if you get 100 points you win, and if the ball is destroyed before that you lose the game. Sounds like pretty simple game to make, so let's see how to make it. So I'll be linking to the tutorials that you require for this, like how to install Unity, how to start a new project. Then when we add scenes, create materials, I'll be linking to those corresponding tutorials. So keep a lookout for the cards on the top of the video so that you can go to that corresponding video to see how it works if you don't clearly understand this. I'll try to slow down as much as possible. So my editor is open now. So this is my editor's default view. If you have no idea, just look at our video on Introduction to Unity Editor. I already have a scene folder. So I guess this scene is called sample scene. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this game scene. Reload. So I have a main camera and a direction light. Okay. No changes to that. So let's go ahead and add a sphere. And let me call this ball. Now let me create 3D object plane and let me call this ground. Okay, so if you double click on any object on the hierarchy, it will zoom in. Like if you click on the ball zooms in. So I want the ball little bit higher, not inside the ground. So let's drag this. So if you're not getting these arrows, you can use the buttons here. In the old Unity editor, it's available here. So these move tool is what you want. So you can move it like this. Okay. Nice. So now I have the ball and the ground. Let me create another folder. And I'm going to call it materials. So now let's create a new material. And I'm going to call this ball. I'm going to create another material. and I'm going to call this ground. Okay, so let it be a standard shader. I don't have to change the shader type, but I do want to change the color to red. Okay, I want to make it metallic and smooth. Okay, now the ground should look like something like a dirt. So brown is the color. Okay, guess that should be okay. And I don't want it to look smooth. It should be rugged, metallic. Nope. Rest all is fine. Okay, now let's assign the material. There you go, ground, and there you go, ball. Now let's adjust the camera. Let's move the camera a little bit to the front. Okay, that's fine. I guess the ground, okay, yeah, this should be okay, but the ball is a little far away, so let's bring the ball forward. That should do it. And let's increase the camera's field of view. I guess I'll rotate the camera a little bit. Okay, now let's rotate. Okay, that should be fine. So now we have our scene element set up. Now the ball has to fall on its own, so we need physics for that. And for the ball to be a physics material, we need rigid body. So body, okay. Mass, I'm not going to change any options, so let it be the default one. Let the values be the default values. I'm not going to change anything. So the collider is already attached, and the link to collider tutorial is on the top. So you need to understand collider very well if you want to make a game in Unity. So ground has a collider, yeah. So basically colliders are like, they tell Unity that nothing should pass through that, and it's not a simple one-liner. It has to be explained completely. So better you look at that tutorial for more details. So now if I play the game, so if you don't know Unity, you can start your scene by clicking on the play button. So the ball falls down and rests on the ground. Okay. So I guess we were talking about some two colors for the ground. So let this be ground one then. And we need one more material. So I'm going to make this a little darker. Yeah, that's more fine. Let's create another material and let's call it ground 2. And this one will have black color maybe. Yeah. Let's see how the background looks like. Oh, you have to go to the scene view to assign the material. So this is how the background looks like. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a script that when the ball falls on the ground, if the ground is brown in color, you get points, and if it is black in color, the ball is destroyed and you lose the game. Okay. Now, before we get into scripting, is there anything else we have to do? I guess no. Okay. So first, let's create a ball script. So let's call it player control. Okay, balls are player. Create an add. So to add a script, you have to basically go to add component, then type in your script name and click on create an add. So it adds the script component here. So let's go edit script. Yes, I trust the author. I'm the author. Okay. So first we need, what do we need? We need the ball to bounce. when the player presses the mouse left button. Okay, so we need the rigid body because rigid body is what the physics acts on. So it's going to be rigid body, and let's give it a name rig. The start function is called only once when the game start, or when, or if the object is disabled, it is called when the object is enabled. An update is basically called every frame, so it's like a loop. So in the start, we are going to say rig equal to get component rigid body. So basically get component is used to get the component attached to the game object. So we are getting the rigid body component so that we can apply force to that. And in the update, we're going to say if input dot mouse, sorry, dot mouse button down, and left click is mouse 0. If that is there, then we are going to say rig dot add force, and the direction is going to be vector3 dot up. So these are all unit vectors. So basically the direction up, right, left and right can be assigned. And then we're going to say force mode dot impulse. So it's a single force. That's it. So once you click, it just gives a boost. Now the problem is we have not specified the force magnitude. We have only given a unit vector, so it will be only one. So let's create a float and let's call it force mode, and let's assign the initial value to 5. Yeah, let's make it public. The reason I'm making it public is because I'll be able to edit the value of force mode from the Unity editor. I'll show you later once we go to the Unity editor. So before we go there, let's multiply this vector. So vector3 dot up is the direction, and the magnitude is going to be force. I guess we should call this force magnitude. MAJG. Okay. So this is going to be force magnitude. Okay. So our script is ready. Let's go back to Unity. And like I said, the public variable which we created is, once you create a public variable, it is displayed here. So you can change the value from here. I can give the value 10. And one more thing to remember is anything that you change when the editor is in play mode is reverted back to normal once you exit the play mode. So for example, if I click on the play mode and the game plays, and if I change the force mode to 5 and then exit the play mode and then see, the force mode magnitude is again back to 10. So that's basically for testing. So if you actually want to change the value, you can just change it here. And there's one more option to get this value to display on Unity editor. It's called serialize field. I will not go into that. So now let's again play the game and see if our force actually works. So I click, the ball bounces. So this looks like the mini clip game we used to play. So when it falls down, this stops the ball, and again we can keep clicking. The only difference is the mini clip game, you have to click on the ball. Here you can click anywhere you want. Oops, it fell down. Okay, so that is working. Now we have to make a script so that the ground changes texture. So let's go to the ground and let's click on add component. Now this is going to be enemy control. Yeah, the ground is the enemy. New script, create and add. Sometimes the enter button doesn't work. I don't know why. Okay, now let's open the script for editing. And if you're not installed Visual Studio Code, then I'll leave the link to that tutorial as well. So it's better to go to description and see all the list of tutorials that you need to see to understand how we made this game. So now we need two public materials. The reason we're making it public is because we can directly assign it in the Unity editor. Material, let's call it brown, brown. Okay, and then we are going to have one more material and we're going to call it black. Okay, now we have two materials, black and brown. In order to change the material of the ground, you need to access the renderer of the ground. So renderer is something that renders the game object onto your camera. So if the game object doesn't have a renderer, it won't be visible on the camera. So let's go renderer. Let's call it ren. And in the start function, let's go ren equal to get component renderer. Okay. Now we have the render component, we have the material. Now only thing is we have to change the material when maybe after every 10 seconds. So what we'll do is we'll create another float and we'll call this timer and we'll assign 10. And in the update, what we'll do is timer minus is equal to time dot delta time. Time is an inbuilt function of Unity and it has lot of parameters like delta time. Delta time is the difference between the time difference between two frames. So if we subtract time dot delta time from our timer, so it will be exactly equal to 10 seconds when it becomes 0. Okay, so now if timer is less than 0, then we're going to say renderer dot material is equal to black, and then we're going to say timer is equal to 10 colon. Okay, then how do we set it back to brown? After again, okay, we're going to need one more bool. So let's say bool material set equal to, we'll not assign it here, we'll assign it in the start function. So let's go array material set is equal to false. Okay, so when the timer is less than 0 and material set, that means material set is true, then we are going to make it into brown. And we're going to make one more if here also timer is less than 0 and not material set, and let's set it to render dot material equal to black, and again timer is equal to black. So for every 10 seconds these two will swap. I'm sure there is a better way to write it, but as of now this is fine. So let's see if the material actually changes for every 10 seconds. Let's play the game and let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it changed. I guess we didn't assign the materials to the script, that's why it's pink in color. So what you have to do is select the ground game object, go to script. See, we have two public variables, brown and black. So drag this here. This is brown. This is black. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess I'm counting faster than you did. Oh, that's not the problem. The first material that is assigned is black, and since the default color was also black, we didn't see the change. So after the next 10 seconds, it should become brown. I guess it's not working. That is very common in game development. A lot of things don't work. So let's go back and see why it's not working. So the easy way to debug any code is using debug.log. So this basically displays a message in the console. And here we're going to say set brown BROWN set. Let's just copy the whole sentence. First, we're going to debug log here and say black color set. Okay, now we'll know that what function is called, and if it is not set, we'll see why. We'll see the ground has a renderer component. We'll make this. So ground 2 is black. Let's play the game. Let's open the console. So we didn't get any message. We should get something after 10 seconds. Okay, black color set. Fine. It's already black. Again, black color set. Why is that? Oh, I understand why is that. Because we forgot to set material set equals to true. And here we're going to say material set equal to false. So these kind of things keep happening in game development. We don't need these to debug. So this is how you comment out a line. Let's go back, see our script works. Okay. I guess the script is not working. Let's again have the debug.log. I guess I made a mistake again. Here it should be the true, and here it should be false. I guess thinking and talking is really difficult. Okay. I left the debug statement just to be sure what is getting called. Okay. Black color set, but it was already black, so no problem. Now it should turn to brown. Yeah, it does. It, it's working. So what you have to see is now when the ball hits the ground, if the material color is brown, we are going to increment the score value, and if it is black, we are going to destroy the ball. So let's see how to check that. I guess you can use that material set boolean itself for this function because it is set to false when it's brown in color. So basically when it is false, we can increment the score, and when it is true, we can destroy the game object. Yeah, let's go ahead. So first we are going to need something, a score variable. So we want to access that score variable from everywhere. So let's make a static variable, and let's do that in the player control. And we are going to create a public, that means it is accessible by anyone, and static, that means it has only one value, and if the value is set from anywhere, it changes. So it's going to be public static, and it's a float, and we call it score. Set code. Now since our material set boolean is in the enemy control, let's make the collision script also here. So Unity has two functions on void collision enter to detect the collision, and void trigger enter. So trigger enter is used when the collider is marked as trigger, and collision enter is used when the collider is not a trigger. To know more about this, check out our collision tutorial. So let's go void doesn't return anything on collision enter, and it takes collision, let's call it call. Okay, so we are going to say if it has collided, it returns call. That means call is the game object it has collided with. Now let's say if call dot game object is, I'm sorry, we have to say if call dot game object dot name is equal to ball. I'm hoping B is caps. Let's go and check. Yeah, B is in caps. BALL. Okay, so if we have collided with ball, inside that if material set, that means if material set is true, that means it is black in color, we are going to destroy brackets call game object. Okay, and we are going to debug log as of now. Log, and let's say game over. I'm sorry, dot. Then again, if material is not set, that means it's brown in color, then we are going to say core, and to access core we have to say player control, the script name dot core plus equals 10. Then go. Okay, so let's go to Unity and see if it works. No, before we start the game, there should be a way to actually display the score. So let's go ahead and create a UI, and let's create a text. Text Mesh Pro is something Unity has added in the recent version. Otherwise, you had to use the legacy text option. So if you're using Text Mesh Pro, it's okay, then you have to import the essentials. Otherwise, if you want to go with the legacy option, you can delete this, go to Canvas, UI, legacy, text. Okay, and I'm going to call this score display. And the UI is basically on top of everything in the screen. So it will be the front page. So you have to click. The UI is generally displayed bigger in size, something like this. The game is available somewhere here. And don't worry, when you actually see in the game window, it is actually shown through the camera eye, so it's almost the same size. So let me display the score somewhere here. And okay, let's increase the width, maybe 200, and the height to 50, and the font size, okay, yes, 40 is too much, 30, and let's hide this. If you're using Text Mesh Pro, it has an auto size option, so it is actually handy. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using the legacy text. I always go with the Text Mesh Pro option. So now there should be a way to link our score to the score display. So let's go back to the script, to our player script, and here we are going to add using Unity engine dot UI. Then since that was a text element, we are going to say text and text equal. Now in the update, what we are going to say is our text dot text. Remember, this text is small t and that text is capital T, is equal to score. Since score is a float, you have to convert that to string. So Unity has a function called toString. So that's it. The update function will basically display the score. Actually, we can add something to make it look much better. So we can just say, come on, colon, and let's give it plus sign. So there you go. So it will display score colon the value. So initial value of score has to be set. So it should be score equal to 0. Since we are adding only integers, so let's make this int. We don't require a float. So I guess everything else is okay. So let's go to Unity. Now let's go to the game. Okay, so let's start the game. So this is basically black. I guess something is not assigned. We'll see what is not assigned. Okay, ball. Okay, I guess this, let's make this public text and then go back to Unity. And now you should see the text element. We'll drag and drop our score display. So now it's connected. So now let's see what happens. Okay, no errors this time. Score is 10. 30. I guess the problem of what was happening is initial value of the variable material set is false, but the initial color is basically black. So this has to be true, or the initial color has to be brown. So let's set the initial color of the ground to brown. Okay, go to scene view, round. Okay, brown. So now let's see if the game works as we want it to. Okay, it is brown, so if I fall on the ground, it says it increases my score, and if it is black, and the ball falls, it is destroyed, and we get a game over message. So now the game is working. I guess 5-10 seconds is really long, so let's reduce that. So since we have added a public variable, we can do that from here. Okay, we didn't add the public variable for the time thing, we added public variable only for the force magnitude. So this timer is going to be 1 second to make the game more interesting. And the force magnitude is not going to be 10. We will have to change it to maybe 2 so that the ball doesn't bounce much higher. Oops, got destroyed. Not able to control the ball. So this 2 is very low. Let's go 4. The reason 2 was very low is when the ball is falling, it's already having a velocity in the downward direction. And when I click, it is giving a force of magnitude 2, which is not able to lift the ball enough. So I have to keep on clicking to make lift the ball. So now let's see what happens. Click, 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 click. Yeah, it went too high. Oops, I was not able to stop it. So if I go too high, I'm not able to stop it with a single click and it falls really fast. So now let's see. Since it's brown, okay, so oops, this game does look interesting. Let's go ball. Let's set it to 6. Okay, now let's see what happens. We'll let it fall. So we have an initial score of 10. Now, okay. I'll wait till it turns to brown. Okay, 20, 30, 40. Okay, I guess there's something wrong with the time. Only the initial time was 1 second, and after that it became 10 seconds. Destroyed. Okay, so we'll see why that time got changed. That's because we're setting the timer to 10 here. So we'll set back to 1. And I guess 1 will be a little too difficult to play. Let's set it to 3 seconds. Okay, we don't need these debug log statements. Okay, let's save the script, go back to Unity. Okay, then okay, brown 20, 30, okay, 40, 50, 60. Oops, game over. So now we have to find a way to quit the game when the object is actually destroyed, or we should give an option to restart the game. So it's menu time. So you have already seen how to create a text and display it. Now let's create a button that will restart the game. So we'll go to the hierarchy, click on the plus sign, UI, and let's say button. Anyway, this button uses TextMesh Pro, so let's import it. And let's call it restart. And inside the button, we'll say restart. Now, since we promised we'll not be using any external asset, the game is not going to look very good. So this is how the restart button will look like, but I guess I'll make it a little bit bigger and divide by 2. mp5 x3. Yeah, this looks much better. Restart. Now we need to restart the game when this button is pressed. So how do you do that? And before we go with the restart button, we need to display the text that says game over. So let's just copy our score display by right clicking and clicking on duplicate, and we'll call this game over. And let's move it somewhere here. Let's make it bigger in size. The width is going to be let's keep the width at 200 and make the height also 200. Just the position. Okay, and here we can say game over. Okay, and the font size 50. So I guess this looks good, but normally will not display game over. So we'll display only when the game is actually over. So we are displaying the message game over in our enemy control. So we'll use that using Unity engine.ui. So we can just say we need another public. We'll just take game object and let's call it game over. Now when the object is destroyed, you're going to display game over set active true. Since we have taken it as a game object, we don't require these using. Okay. So we'll display the restart button only when the game over is displayed. So we'll remove that also. We'll just uncheck this and let's go back to the script. Here we're going to get another public game object. We're going to call it restart. So we are going to set game over, set active, and we're going to restart. Semicolon. Okay, so let's go back to Unity. Both these game objects were added to ground. Yeah, enemy control. We have game over and restart. So let's drag and drop this here. So now let's see what happens. Okay, game over, but we didn't get the restart button. Why is that? Okay, we're supposed to give true. Okay, let's play the game. Game is working. Destroyed. Didn't get the restart button. Why is that? Again, I do get overwhelmed sometimes. The script was wrong. We restart.set active. I'm going to double check this time. Game over.set active, restart.set. Yeah, it's right. Let's go back. Play the game. Ball falls on the ground, score increases, ball is destroyed and getting restart. But my game is not restarting. The reason is we have not connected any script to that button. So first let's write the script and then connect it. So all that we need is a public function. So we have to restart the scene. So you need something called as using Unity Engine dot scene management. Okay. So all these namespaces you will start getting them once you start making games. And if you are wondering how I get these names, that's by using Unity again and again. So the only way you're going to remember all this is by making more and more games. And it's not big deal if you don't know it, you can just look up in Google that all these functions go into which namespace and Google will tell you that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a public function, public, and it won't return anything, called restart. So we are going to say screen manager load and the bracket we're going to say screen manager dot get current scene, get active scene, semicolon. Okay, there it's a method, so it has to be like this. Dot name. Okay. So now what it does is it will see what scene is running currently and then reload it. So we can go back to Unity. Now we have to assign our button click to that function. So just select the restart button, click on the plus sign, the on click event. This will tell you what happens when the button is clicked. So this requires a game object. Since our script is attached to the ball, we'll drag and drop the ball here. Then you'll be able to see the player control script, and here we have the restart function. So when the button is clicked, the restart function inside the player control is called. Remember, if the restart is not set as public, you won't be able to access it from the button. So let's go ahead and play the game. 10, 20. Now if I click on restart, nothing happens. We'll see why. The reason nothing happens is because the script is attached to the ball and the ball is destroyed. So we cannot restart the game. So the only option is to switch that function from the ball. We'll remove it and we'll put it to the ground since ground won't be destroyed. And that function won't work without Unity Engine.scene management. So let's remove that and add it here. Let's save the script, save the ball script. Now let's go back to Unity and we need to assign this again because now that script has moved to the ground game object. It has to be enemy control. There's no restart. Why? Okay, the restart function is basically conflicting with the game object, which is also called restart. So we'll call this restarting and save the script. Go back to Unity. Okay, now we have to set our game object, drag and drop ground, and then enemy control restarting. I hope that it works this time. So let's play the game. Score is 10, 20, destroyed, restart, restart. Okay, now everything works. Let's try to hit 100 here. Okay, 30, 40, oops, 50, 60, oops, 70, 80, oops, oh my god, so close. So that's it, our game is ready. Now we have to build the game. To make it into an executable file, let's go to build settings and you have to select the platform. So I'm going to build for Windows and the target platform is going to be Windows. Everything is going to be same. You need to add the scene to the build. So let's click on add open scene. Actually, if you're loading any other scene, since this game has only one scene and we just reloaded it, in most of the games the score display happens in a different scene and you have to reload the game scene. In Unity, for loading a scene, it has to be present in this list. And if it is not available, you'll get an error. So keep a lookout for that and also look at our scene manager tutorial. So we have added the game scene. So this will be built. And if you go to player settings, you can give your company name. So it's going to be one studio and I'm going to call the effect as ball bounce. You can give the icon here, logo icon, and it will create different versions here. So I'm not going to give any icon as of now. And most of the settings are by default. You have to change all these settings if you are going to build for Android. So I'm pretty okay with the default settings. So let's go ahead and say build the game. It will ask for a folder. So let's create a new folder, call it build, and then let's select the folder. So it says, do you want to save the changes? Yes, I want to save the changes. So it will take some time depending on the amount of game objects inside your scene. Since this is a pretty basic scene, it won't take much time. But anyway, building for the first time does take longer than the other iterations. The reason is Unity actually builds the whole Unity engine inside the application. So let's double click the exe to play it. So it says made with Unity, nice logo there. Okay, I guess NVIDIA found out I'm playing a game. Restart. Oops. So I didn't build anything to basically quit the game, so I'm going to use Alt O. So let's go back to the game and build a quit button. So just take the restart button and duplicate it. Let's call it quit and let's enable it so that it's not in the same place at restart. So what we can do is we can have the quit here. Let's enable restart also and let's have restart here. I guess it's getting a little bigger, so let's reduce the size. Let's make it 2.5. Let's make it 1.5. Restart 2.5 and 1.5. And this is going to be quit. And then we need to enable this button also. So let's go to our enemy control. We have another public game object and it will be called quit button. Okay, and let's create another function which will be public void quit, and we're going to say application dot quit. That's it. It will quit the application. Because this command won't work on the Unity editor. That is, if you're testing the game in Unity editor, it won't quit the game. That means it won't come out of Unity play mode. check out our tutorial on how to quit inside the Unity editor. So I'll leave the link in the description. Okay, so let's save it, go back. Now we need to assign the quit variable also. So let's go. Here the quit is empty, so this will be quit. Okay, I guess I didn't set quit to active. Quit quit button dot set active true. Okay, now it should work. Okay, so we have assigned the quit button. Let's just disable them. Okay, not the button, I guess. You have to disable the game object. Okay, now let's play the game. Okay, okay. Yeah, quit button comes up. Quit basically restarts because I've not set the quit function to it. So enemy control, quit. So now let's save the scene, go to build settings and build the game. Okay, select folder. So by default, Unity basically replaces the old build. So we have a new ball bounce made with Unity. 10, 20, up, up, 30, 40. I'm getting efficient at this. 50, 60, 70, 80. Now we can basically drop it twice. 90, 100. Yay, high score. So now let's get the ball destroyed. Down. Okay, quit. And it works. So that's it. You have created your first game. Please don't forget to look at all the tutorials that are linked with this. So if you like the tutorial and you like to make your own game and you need support for that, we have an exclusive Facebook group for that, where you'll get a 10-day itinerary to start learning game development, and on the 10th day you will be publishing your own game. So as you can see, from day 1 learning Unity to day 10, where you basically publish your game on itch.io. So this way you will have the complete experience from learning a game engine to making a game and to publishing your own game. And the best part, it is completely free, and I'll be there to help you out if you have any questions regarding your game development. And if you're stuck somewhere with your own game and you're not able to debug the code, I'll be there to help you. So if you feel this is useful, just go ahead and join the group. It's completely free. Looking forward for your game to be published. See you in the group. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.